special liquid lunch that we're having here. We're doing it late. It's not even lunchtime. But we are very happy to have Chris Kehler back on Skype from Winnipeg. We haven't gotten him to Toronto yet, but we're looking forward to one day that may happen. But Chris, welcome back. It's winter now. It was summer the last time we talked.
It certainly was. Thanks for having me back on, Hugh. It's a pleasure.
Now we're going to do. We're going to talk about quantum healing, and we've got some guests here who have volunteered to get some healing done here. Daniel Case is back with us, so we're going to do some follow-up. He was here the last time. Daniel, first of all, thanks for coming in today.
No problem.
And John Burling Hardy in the middle. Thanks for coming in last-minute substitution.
Oh, my pleasure.
And Jen Frankel, who's my Liquid Lunch co-host, is here, but hopefully she's going to get some healing done too.
Look at that, I'm like 2 cameras.
Yeah,
2 cameras, that's really cool. Yeah.
We're going to all emerge a little bit healthier today. And Chris, thanks for coming back. Now, for the first 20, 25 minutes or so, we're just going to talk about what you do and that sort of thing. So maybe you could just start and describe the quantum energy healing work that you do, just to give people a reacquaintance or an introduction.
Well, and that's exactly it. It's a form of what I call true quantum healing. It's something I developed myself. And now there's tons of different modalities of healing. Reiki, quantum touch, EFT, elemental P. There's various many different forms of it, and they're all valid. They all have their worth. They all work. Okay, well, what I did when I started doing this work about 11 years or so ago is I developed something from my monkey mind, something easy to understand, something that I could get into, and I developed a rhythm within this work using a pendulum and a chart system, and I'll do a demonstration with that later with the camera, to how to find out what your health problem is. Okay, everybody's got some kind of health problem, no matter who you are, where you live, your diet, no matter what you do healthy for yourself, everybody's got some ache or pain, headaches, this, that, the other thing. But mostly there's a lot of people with a lot of strange health problems. Okay, ALS, cerebral palsy, many, many different types of problems that can't be explained. And that's the system that I've developed. And with my mindset, I basically work without a paradigm. Everything is open. And with my pendulum, I'm able to discern what is causing your health problem. So when you're working in a spiritual realm, when you're working with this type of energy, let's say, you have to consider a lot of different things. And a lot of it is extraterrestrial, satanic. A lot of these energies, a lot of these laws, a lot of the spells that come with it are very much involved in a day-to-day process with what goes on in our lives. And they do have an impact within our health. And, every day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, now we're working on 12 hours today, I'm working on people worldwide to help alleviate their health problems. And on a daily basis, we get some results that are astounding. We actually are able to find out what is going on with this person's health that the medical community, bless their hearts, can't quite figure out because they don't work in this realm. They don't know about it. And it's, number one, it's working. Number two, people are not having to wait in huge lineups at the hospital to see specialists and that type of thing. People are getting real-time results almost immediately, sometimes a few days later. But number one, they're getting honesty and they're getting answers as to what is causing and involved with their health problems. So the whole concept of energy healing boils down to being able to use a pendulum or work psychically to know what's going on. And then number two, using sacred geometry to amplify your intent, your will, and mind power to make changes within the body right away.
Okay.
It's really fascinating. It's my first time experiencing this. I actually got to see just a little tiny bit of the previous video that from the last time you were on the show. What do you think? Do you have any opinion on sort of traditional healthcare or holistic healthcare and the place of that? And does it work along with what you do, or is it irrelevant when in terms of your work?
Ultimately, the work that I'm doing can be on its own. You don't have to be taking supplements or doing detoxes or anything else for it to work. You can enhance it by possibly using a mineral supplement to help speed things along, add some nutrient to your body so your body can heal itself. If you're diabetic and we're doing sessions and you're taking insulin, you're not going to stop your insulin right away. You're going to make sure that your blood sugars are stabilizing so that you don't go into diabetic shock or anything like that. So, yes, lots of people will take allopathics. Lots of people will continue to take herbs and naturopathic remedies, homeopathic remedies along with it to assist it. But if you choose not to, this will work just fine with it.
Okay, Chris. So now, and you were watching the previous video, Jen, but so this involves today especially, you're going to be holding that sacred geometrical device, the pyramid, up to the camera. I'm just curious, like, what are you feeling? Like, do you have any sensation when that's happening, Chris?
You ever gone fishing, Hugh?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I feel when I take this pyramid and hold it up to the camera and I say the words to move the energy, it's like all of a sudden I got a big fish on the line. It's pulling on my energy. And then as soon as the work is done, it lets go as if the fish gets off the line. So that's what I feel. What the client feels, they might feel a tingle over their body. They might feel some warmth. They all of a sudden might feel a little lighter. They might feel a little nauseous. They might feel a little dizzy. Everybody feels some energy moving. Some people don't, but most people notice something's changing, something's different.
Okay. So there's sometimes you get a snag and you think it's a fish. Is it like that?
Or you're like playing a really big fish and then you realize the line can't cope with it. That's what I'm I'm hoping that you're going to do this.
If I douse and it's not the right thing, it'll push me away. It'll say, no, that's not it.
Oh.
So I do get feedback from it in certain ways. So if it's a snag, it pushes me back.
Okay.
Neat.
So just going back to the dowsing, like, can you tell us a little bit about your progression from an amateur dowser to a professional now?
There's a lot of progression, and even today it's still progressing. Weekly, it's progressing. So ultimately, there's an old saying, ask and ye shall receive. So when I started doing this work, I've been asking the questions. What is the cause of all these health problems? What is making this person sick? All these different questions I keep on asking every day. So the universe, in its ultimate wisdom, feeds me a little bit every day. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. So it would start off when I started doing this that the answers would be all over the place. You couldn't make any sense of them. The more I do it, the more they make sense. The more time and passion you put into it, the universe says, okay, this guy wants something. He really wants it bad. Let's give it to him. Let's help him along. And then your consciousness really starts to kick in, and you start to learn more about yourself, learn more about how dowsing really works, and learn more of what's really happening here. And once you've come to terms with all that and accept it, the world is your oyster. It really starts to take hold. The hardest thing that a dowser can do, I've got 41 students. I teach this to people all over the world. One of the hardest things to do is use a letter chart and ask your guides, ask spirit a question and have it spell it out. And I use that on a daily basis. I've done medium work with it, talk with my parents who have passed on. I've talked to them a few times, and it does work. You get a validation that there is something going on. So the progression is learning to crawl, and then learning to run, then learning to fly.
Okay, so and now we talked a little bit about this the last time, and I want to bring it up again because the question is specifically about backlash from religious groups or religious people. There's some people who are Christians, for example, caution against the use of dowsing or that sort of thing. Can you talk about that a little bit? I mean, even talking to ancestors who have passed on, some people say that that's just something you shouldn't be doing.
To answer the first part of your question, I come from a strict Mennonite background, okay? My parents brought up in the country. My dad was one of 12 kids. Mom was one of 17. Big Mennonite families. So a few years ago, we had a family reunion. So I took my family, went out to the country, wanted my family out there to meet my kids. I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old now. So everybody says, "Oh, Chris, how are you? What are you doing with yourself?" And I tell them, I says, "Well, I do spiritual healing." They go, "Oh, really? What Bible do you use?" I says, "Well, I don't use a Bible." "Oh, well, may God have mercy on you." I says, "He does every day, thank you." You do get backlash. People look at you with an eyebrow turned up. And I've learned to accept that, respect that, and that's going to happen. Now, the other part of the question, I was working with a lady in the Middle East who was using a pendulum and starting to learn how to use it, and she would hold classes in her school. And a lot of the people in the area would say, "Oh, don't do that, it's bad luck, you're going to bring in jinn." Okay, jinn being the spirits that they control, that they can use and cause problems. So a lot of the old beliefs are still around with accessing jinn, causing problems, stirring up problems, creating vortexes. If you don't know how to use this properly, it could happen. Case in point is the Ouija board. Okay, if you're using a Ouija board and you don't know what's going on, you're inviting spirits in and they're going to make life rough for you.
Yeah, so in a sense, I've often wondered that myself, though, the difference between the Ouija board and the dowsing. In some way, it's, not that dissimilar. Can you just...
Well, the Ouija board itself is designed to bring in negative spirits. When that was designed and built, and when it was made, the intent was put into it that it's going to allow spirits in. Okay? Now, with my pendulum, my intent is to ask questions to get answers.
Okay.
Can you tell us
all about intent?
Oh, sorry. Just about the role of the placebo effect in what you do.
Placebo effect. Well, there's really no such thing as a placebo effect. So let's take that a little further. So you're taking part in a medical experiment to try this pill and that pill, and one pill is sugar, another pill is got the real stuff in it. So now you're told that this pill, you don't know it contains sugar, is going to get rid of your headache. You take that pill, your headache goes away. Your headache went away. Okay? So the intent was that pill is going to, the taking of that pill will get rid of your headache. So it's all intent, and that's what's happening here, is we're making an intent for an energy to move, for something to happen, cause and effect. So the placebo got the job done. So what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm. And the placebo might have fewer side effects too. That's interesting, though. So basically, if it works, it works.
Ultimately, if it works and stays away, that's the big thing. If you take a placebo pill and the headache goes away, then it comes back, then that means it kind of worked, but it didn't go far enough to do the job to get rid of why the headache was there. So with my system, what it would tell me is why you have a headache, whether it's calcium or sodium buildup in the brain, whether it's a muscle spasm, whether it's something going on an energy level. So it gets very specific. Whereas just to make the intent for the headache to go away, sometimes you have to find out what is causing the headache.
So with what you're doing, you can actually dig down to the root causes and not just work on treating the symptoms then?
Absolutely. We get right down into the full DNA of things quite often, into the cells and to the molecules, into the particles of the atoms. We go right down that far.
Okay. Now, is there anything that you've been finding lately that people are experiencing, something that maybe is trending with regard to health issues?
Today, I was able to start to find the big pharma corporations are able to control spirits to go in your body and create illness through certain avenues of your body. I always known it was there, but if you can't find it with your pendulum, you can't clear it out. So all of a sudden it started to come up. So energy is shifting in order to find that, and I've always known it was there. But one of the big ones has been Teflon. Now we all know that Teflon was taken off the market. They stopped using it because it would chip away from the pan, and if you ingested it, it could cause problems. Well, the fumes of Teflon itself, if you have, say, parakeets flying around the house and you're cooking at a high heat with Teflon, it could kill the
It's so funny because that's actually a literal canary in a coal mine. I mean, basically, if you've got a canary flying around your house, it could die.
That's exactly it. So I've been finding it in various amounts within people's joints and muscles and at different areas of the body causing a problem. Now, the big thing is that if there's a toxin in your body, there's always a negative energy that's holding it there, that's causing it to cause a problem. So they're going to use that towards causing a problem. So if you had absolutely no entities or no negative energy within or around you, you would ingest a toxin, it would filter out, your body would get rid of it. So there's always a negative energy, and there's always a physical contributor to a health problem. So the Teflon has been big. Something called boric acid, which is a form of a pesticide, yeah. And it's also used in fire retardant materials and different things. Some people actually drink it to kill funguses and bacteria. That in itself has also been a problem. I find quite a bit of that.
That's crazy. Sorry, that's yeah. No, I actually used boric acid to get rid of fire ants in my pharaoh ants in my apartment. So I was actually exposing myself to something I probably shouldn't have exposed myself to then?
Well, it's more so the fact that there are the spirit realm, let's say the reptilians, the aliens, the satanic, are using forms of witchcraft to intend it in your body to cause a problem. Because boric acid itself is a very dense energy. It's very heavy, very dense. Quite often when I do a clearing on somebody, the first thing they say is, I feel lighter. And that's because we're taking off the dense energy. So this boric acid is used, let's say, to create something, to make something of it because it's so dense.
So that's weird, is that it's not the boric acid itself necessarily, but the intent that somebody's putting behind it. And you mentioned the pharmaceutical companies are doing something to, send entities in to keep people unhealthy?
No, I'm not saying that they're sitting behind a desk and they're instructing entities to go create this and this and this and this. But the way that humanity is we have this ability that we don't know about. We're starting to wake up to it, of manifestation, causing something to happen. If you think something bad's going to happen, something bad's going to happen. Pharmaceutical companies are developing all these new drugs, and they start talking about them and getting the ball rolling, and the energy starts to build up, and now all of a sudden people need them.
Now I'm wondering if you can actually use your healing directly on the pharmaceutical companies, because I think that would do all of us a lot of good.
It can be done, but
I'm not entirely being facetious here. I think that would be a great
yeah. See, something like that takes about a month, all day long to make changes, because you really have to know all the people involved. You just can't say pharmaceutical company behave. You have to get into each person who's developing the drugs, get into each person who's the CEOs. You have to be specific with who you're working with in that case, and then you start stepping on over the line a little bit as far as where you can do with this healing work. So you don't want to work on somebody who doesn't give permission either.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to get ready to start doing some actual healing, which we're really looking forward to, Chris. But before we do that, just the people watching right now, like, who should think about coming and knocking on your door for some quantum energy healing? People
who should come and see?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. If you don't believe in this stuff, don't come in. Okay. If you're curious, come on in. Okay, because if you're curious, it's going to help. Basically, the people who come to see me are people who already know that this stuff exists and that this stuff works and it can help them. I don't advertise I do advertising, but I don't sell. Okay, I put all my information out there on my YouTube channel, my website, doing wonderful shows like this, gets the word out there, and then people get interested and they go, I think I'm going to give that a try. And as soon as they do that, they've just had a bit of an awakening, and then they make an appointment, and they try, but any health problem whatsoever, it doesn't really matter. If it's something extremely chronic, like stage 4 cancer, then there's not a good chance of survival of that. A lot of people wait too long to access this type of work. The allopathic side has failed, then they start looking alternative, and by then it might be too late. But I have taken on basically any kind of case: depression, anxiety, arthritis, diabetes, you name it. I've worked with it and had great results.
Okay. You did kind of mention that trainee course, Chris. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about it? And, are you open to students learning more about it? Or?
Absolutely. We need to get this around, because the intent of this, and here we intent again, is that somebody is going to buy this course, be the healer of the family, of the community, and so forth, okay? With the course, it's $2,000, which is actually pretty cheap. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on courses, okay? So it's only $2,000. You get everything that I use, okay? You get a set of small rings, you get a pyramid, you get the books, and you get my knowledge. You get me backing you up, you get me coaching you all the time. And you're also part of a community. All 41 members right now, they're part of a database where you can talk to each other. There's a group box message board that everybody can talk to each other, ask questions. If you're having trouble, get some opinions, and everybody's there to help everyone. So you're part of a community, which is a really great thing. I never thought it would get to this point when I started selling them. Everybody asked me, do you teach what you do? And I says, no, maybe I should, and started doing it, and here it is. So it's on my website, chriskehler.net. You can order it straight off of there. You can call me. We can make arrangements. Now, if you're not sure about it, you can take it for a test drive. On my website, right next to it in the web store, you can print off some free dowsing charts. I got 5 different charts you can print off for free, as many as you want, and start practicing with your pendulum. There's a video right next to it you can access to tell you how to use the charts, so you can take them for a test drive to see if this is right for you, okay? It's something that if you do have knowledge and experience dowsing, you'll catch it really quick. It's that easy to do. Once you realize the flow of the charts and how to confirm answers, because the biggest thing with dowsing is doubt. We call it dowsing, okay? Is it the right answer? How do I know it's the right answer? Because I've put in checks and balances so that you can get an answer, go to another chart, ask another question, and get a confirmation. It takes a lot of the doubt out of it, and it makes things very, very interesting as it paints a picture of a person's health. It paints a picture of the person's issue that they're going through, and it helps to describe so the client can now envision what's going on to facilitate the healing. When your subconscious jumps in and helps out, that's when a lot of the healing happens, when you can say, I know what you're talking about. It totally resonates with me. That's what's really interesting about it. So it's on my website. Check it out, and I'm always wanting to get new people into this, because we need to get this out. We need to be able to help humanity in a much bigger way.